Watching this, the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan is like watching a bad, unfair, and cruel divorce. Now, why do I make that comparison? Think about this for a second. Think about a man who's a rich man, wealthy man, who marries a woman who he met, say, in a coffee shop. She's his waitress, and she comes from um, a poor family with a rough history. There's abuse in the family, poverty in the family, just a lot of issues or whatnot. But he marries her, and they're together for a while, say 30 years. They've been together for 30 years, right? Now, here's what happens. Somewhere along the line, say they're not getting along. There's a lot of problems in the marriage. They get to the point where they just don't want to be around each other. They stayed together for certain reasons. There were kids. They didn't want to look bad. He had a reputation to protect. For some reason or another, they tried to make it work, but just didn't happen. So they get to a point where, or they got to a point or a long time ago, where they just don't need to be together anymore. They're not a good fit. They probably should have never got together in the first place. And then you'll hear people say, talking to the man, you should have never married her. Should have never went there, right? Should have never got involved with her. And to put it bluntly, if you were attracted or you just wanted sex, that's what you should have done and should have left it at that. Now, what does that have to do with Afghanistan? Think about this. You have people saying we should have never went there. And if we did go there, we should have went there for one purpose only, and then we should have left. Shouldn't have stayed there. Now, whether you agree or disagree, whether you think it's right, whether you think it's wrong, whatever your moral standard is, there's value in this example, I think. And the reason I think so is because after being together for so long, you have a situation in which their fates become somewhat intertwined. Their future becomes intertwined every day they spend together in that marriage. So you could say, well, she didn't have anything going into the marriage, and he had everything going into the marriage. So it should be easy to figure out how this marriage should end. But I would argue that it's not that simple. And the reason I say that is because if you think about it, during that time that they were together, there were joint assets developed, more connections created, children were born. They just became more and more tied to each other. That's what I mean by the fates being intertwined. So why is this important? It's important because it's important how that marriage is dissolved, how the man leaves. Just because the man shouldn't have been there, just because the man made a bad decision, just because the man didn't have enough foresight, doesn't mean that he just gets to walk away. Right? There's a lot of people who believe in that type of a brutal exit. I don't. You see, that's like the man waking up one day or in the middle of the night, just leaving in the middle of the night. Just, we don't need to be together. This is bad for both of us. I'm out of here, and just gone. And to take it one step further, it's like that man leaving and taking everything with him. He takes his resources, right? He leaves her there in that house, but he takes his resources with him, takes his protection with him, takes his cover with him, and just abandons the marriage because they don't need to be together. But he leaves behind the debts that they incurred together. even if there were debts that she had before they got married, if there were some debts, some obligations, he leaves her with everything that's a problem so that he can go on and live his best life. Do you think that's fair after being together for 30 years? I can't see how you can justify that. I just don't think it's right. So if you look at the way America is leaving Afghanistan, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm out of here, right? So he leaves her, leaves the kids, pulls out the wrong way, and just abandons the situation. Now, the right way to do that would be, first of all, have some type of therapy while you're together. You know, try to work things out, not just off of your own preconceived notions, your own feelings, your own view of the world, your own perspective, but to maybe get with somebody who can help you manage that. Because if you screwed it up by yourself, you're probably not going to be able to fix it by yourself. You're probably going to need some help, therapy, right? But even further, you need to set some things in place. We need to have a conversation. We need to say, you know what? We don't get along. We don't need to be together. We should probably get divorced, but let's do this the right way. What's fair? What is fair? Yeah, now. I'm not saying that she should come out of this thing with everything. I'm not saying he should come out of this thing with everything. Um, but it should be reasonable. It should be okay. I understand that once we got married, you became dependent upon me, and I was carrying most of the load, say financially. And I understand that you can't do your thing, survive without some type of assistance. But before we put this assistance in place, let's structure a few things. Let's make some agreements. Let's talk about how we're going to do this in an amicable way. Even if we have irreconcilable differences, we're adults. So we're gonna dissolve this thing like mature adults. Neither one of us just gets to walk away. We're gonna work it out. And then when it's over, neither one of us will be able to say that one of us was mistreated or done wrong. Right. And then the last thing I'll say about that is when that man leaves, he takes his cover and he takes his protection and he takes his wealth with him. Just imagine um, the wolves that are waiting. Everybody that wanted to take advantage of that woman, right? And if the problem in the marriage was, well, she didn't mature, she didn't grow as an individual, she didn't come up to my level. Well, what do you think is going to happen when you leave her there? Especially when there's so many people just sitting there waiting to take advantage of her. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's fair? I get it. I get it. We probably should have never been there in that capacity that we were there in the first place. We say we went in there to go stop Al Qaeda, and you can even argue that a lot of the reasons that the United States went to Afghanistan in the first place weren't even real. Think about what's going on in the media now, and it should open your eyes to the fact that we were lied to in the beginning, and everything wasn't what it seems, but it happened. It happened anyway. And since it happened, you have to remove yourself, extricate yourself from that situation the right way. So that's how I see it. I see it as a really bad, unfair, cruel divorce. And not only that, is that woman going to suffer for it, the kids are too. And I don't think that's fair. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that topic? Let me know in the comment section below. On that note, guys, take care and peace.